Welcome back, everyone. If you're new here, welcome to the show. In today's episode, we're going to be doing a full build of a two-door Jeep Rubicon from INJORA. That's the body. We're going to be putting it onto our TRX-4 Sport. That's the frame. The frame is longer than the body. We're going to be chopping frame rails. We're going to be cutting stuff up. We're going to be making another kind of colorful Comanche, but this time it'll be a two-door Jeep. I really hope that you guys enjoy this. I hope that we're able to answer a lot of questions we've gotten over the last couple years. And I, by no means, am making a how-to. This is just us in the garage, hanging out, having a good time. If you're new here, please subscribe, as we're a small channel. We might not pop up in your feed again. Share it with your best friend, your worst enemy, and your grandma. It helps a lot more than I can put into words, and I appreciate it. Thank you all for everything that you guys do. Grab a cold snack, get a cup of coffee. Let's get into the show. All right, we got a new project here. We got the Rubicon finally. Two-door Jeep, something I've been wanting to do since before we started the hobby. And I'm just really excited. The body came in complete. We did not expect that. So what I mean by that is it's already built. The bumpers and everything. This is how it came in the box. It's just beautiful looking. It's not the way we're going to keep it, sadly. I wish we had the correct wheelbase. This is a 275, and then I believe we have a 313. I'll put the correct numbers in below if it's not right. But either way, it's just going to be too short. And that's also one of the reasons why we bought it. We're going to be chopping this puppy up and making something that has the wheels kind of sticking out the back and out the front a bit. So we don't have any bumper interference or anything. I think this would be something above a class 3 or whatever. Really, we're just going to call it classless. And it's just for wheeling. This is going to be the wife's rig. So we've had a lot of questions actually about what we've come to name Bones over the last year or two. You might have seen it in different videos and different builds. It was the 4-door Jeep, and this is the wheelbase for it and everything like that. This is the TRX-4 Sport it's on, and it's just all stock and whatnot. These are even the stock tires. This is the final iteration of Bones. The last time we took it out, we've cracked this probably a year ago, actually. Isn't this the B pillar or the A pillar? Whichever. They're both broken, both pillars. Both the B and A pillars. So we've broken all 4 B and A pillars. This is the final one over here as well. So all in all, I mean, it was just an experiment, having fun, learning what I could from it. The lot of the body is chopped up, even on the inside here, is how we've gotten it so low. A lot of people have asked that. So we're actually going to delve into this and kind of just show you over the course of time what we've done to it to get it attached to the body. So let's delve into Bones here. One of my favorite things that we came up with in the long run, on the rear end here, for getting my rear end, the body attached to the frame, what I actually did is found just something I liked that opened, just a cool little scale item. I think this was a cooler when I first got it. Actually pops open, or tow rope is in there still. But you'll see these 2 screws. These 2 screws actually go in and bolt up to the well, I guess a cross member or whatever you want to call it, that bolts onto the frame. Hopefully you're able to see inside here the right way. Do we have another light somewhere? I want to change that. Can the camera see down in here? Here we go. Nice. That worked out well. Okay, so down in here you can actually see this is what I'm calling the cross member. So these 2 bolts are going through the floor of the Jeep here. And then when we take the body off, you'll get a better look. I have 2 bolts that go, or screws, that go through the frame. And there is a bolt on the other side, or I'm actually using the plastic cross member that comes with the stock body. You can move that piece around. I don't know if we're using a stock hole or not. As we pull it apart, I'll refresh the memory. So let's get into it. So I just loosen those, and I'll actually leave those screws in. There's no reason to take them all the way out, because once you loosen them, now the body will just pop free, and you guys can get a better look at that. We'll pull the body all the way off so you can have even better look. But up front, I got the same kind of deal. And we call these body mounts. That's what we'll call them. And it's usually, you know, the proper termage for RC, I suppose. It's just this one back here was kind of like a body mount for each side. So I guess that's why I didn't think of it that way. But The body mount up here actually broke at the body itself, not from the frame. On the frame, I have a bolt head on the side and a screw that goes through. So I leave just enough like play in it so you can see where the body will swivel on the screws. Now the front bumper is pretty tight, so I can't lift it up too far, but it leaves me enough to take out batteries, put in a new battery, put it back down, tighten those back bolts, and keep going. This is probably my favorite way of doing things. There's no magnets involved. I call hard connections. So meaning that when I roll the body or something, unless the body mount breaks, the body's gonna stay on. And I just really enjoy that. And the magnets just, you know, is a lot of extra weight and stuff. The downside of this is I did drill my own holes in my frame up front. If you're not comfortable with doing that, you know, that might be a breaking point for you. It's really not as hard as you think. The metal is pretty soft, but I find that the manufacturing your own made stuff with this is actually pretty fun. So maybe getting comfortable with that will be step number one. When we start building the yellow Jeep, like I said, we're gonna be cutting a frame. I've never cut a frame on the RC yet, so that'll be a whole new learning process for me as well. It's kind of part of the video, right? We're all just trying to get used to what we can get away with in this, right? All right, back to this. Let's take apart one of these bolts. That's why that's the biggest pain right there. Getting that screw out. The joy of working on RC, working on tiny little areas the entire time. Working on old classic cars is just like crawling inside the hood. Oh, there's an engine in here too. It could just fit me and two of my friends. We could have lunch in here with this engine. And then when I got my first Toyota, it was like, oh, shoving my hands. Every time I pull my hand out, a new cut. And now working with RCs, I'm just like, my tools, shove my tiny little tools in there. However I can get a grip of it, but that's what you're working with here. I was talking about my screw and my nut. So this is on the inside of the C-channel chassis. So a C-channel chassis means a chassis that's shaped like this. And that's what we have on the TRX-4 Sport. So this will be on the inside of the C-channel, and this was coming through the outside. And that would hold our body mount that's connected to our frame here. And you can see that. And there's a hole where I drilled a hole through. Either there was one there. I think I drilled that one though. Can't tell you for sure. But like I said, this other body mount broke. And you can see here, a bit of plastic. Done now? A bit of plastic left with it. And it's still connected to the frame though. Not that that was doing any good. And there's our winch, just wired in there. Sometimes just good enough is all you need, you know. I'm telling you, this thing has been rolling for a couple of years off just good enough. We've won a couple competitions off of just good enough. It's all about having a good time, right? So be it you're trying to be the best and build the cleanest, good on you. Or if you're just trying to get by, good on you. You know, I'm not here to teach anyone. We're just showing you what we're doing and being honest about it. But here in the back and the rear, to be able to get our body low enough to fit, let's start with on the frame stuff. So on the frame, you can see we did a bunch. I don't know where to even start. Let's start at the front because that's where we just were. On the front, we actually have, this is a TRX-4 Sport, what is it? A rock slider for on the side. We've cut off the parts that allow it to attach to the side here and just screwed it straight onto the cross member of the frame. Pretty easy to figure that out. And then we just mounted our winch straight to the frame underneath, as tight as you could possibly get. We've drilled a couple holes so we can have wire in the back. There's a metal plate that the winch is connected to, so it's not the winch itself that's holding onto the frame, there's a metal plate that's screwed onto it and wired onto it. But all the power comes down underneath the frame, so there you go. I wouldn't recommend this at all, but that's what we did. And it's worked for a couple years. We've actually skinnied the side of this, so I wouldn't use this in any illegal competition. I don't think you're allowed to skinny the frame or the floorboards at all. It's usually called tubbing. If you tub the sides, that usually puts you straight into class 3 or above. Just, you know, make sure you check your rules. Again, this is a classless build. We just have fun on the trail with this thing, and so we're not paying in any competitions with this, you know. And then in the rear, we've just gotten the wrong adapters and used them in the right way. So these are just some Amazon aluminum suspension adapters. I don't know anything else you want to call them for. I've screwed them into some random plastic holdings. Usually these holdings would be for some wires. I got the antenna fed through one of them here. And with the original TRX-4 Sport, the battery tray will be up a little bit too high. So this is one part we ordered. This is just a 3D printed battery tray. It's allows it to get a lower center of gravity. The battery sits like this in there. Again, it's almost sitting on top of the battery. You can see in the rear where we've cut some space. So if you end up with some extra wires or something like that, this is all just duct tape as well. We'll get into the body, but that's what we did for the frame. As we go forward, we will be cutting the frame on the new build somewhere in here. So that'd be interesting. More modifications. I think that's everything. You can see the ESC just kind of flopping about. If you're worried about that, don't do it. If you're worried about it in my truck, I mean, good on you. That's very nice of you. I appreciate that. Sometimes I'm worried about it. It hasn't caught on fire yet. So far so good. I'll let you know when it does. You'll see it on video. The funny bone. Okay. Back to the body. Boy, this thing has been through a lot. Where do I start? The fender flares had some problems in the past. You can see here, I think this one's just held on by glue at this point. The screws are, or at least that screw might not be for looks. Oh, you can see actually it's pinched off here. So that's what they had a problem with doing. They would pinch off. They would smack too hard against something, or you'd be wheeling too hard and it would push it in. Because these fender flares are bolt-on. So we've had at different builds where we didn't run them. Yeah, it is what it is. Just that's a thing that happens. We made our own door panels to fill in the 4-door when I made this. It worked pretty well. Eventually they break off and stuff. I really liked it. It left dents, so it kind of just told the story more as with the truck. That was kind of the idea. I was hoping the roof and everything would be more dented by the time we were done with this rig, but it just, man, this little thin aluminum, it just held up. It just did a better job than the plastic did. We got a few dents in here, but nothing major. But really for how we got the body onto the thing, now that's where the story is told. Or that's where the story is told. Something intelligent and witty. Be funny. Haha. Laugh, everyone. Thank you. But here's, I don't know. I tried to cut as little as I could. I'm going to start pulling away some duct tape so you can get a better picture of everything, as I don't plan on using this again. And if I do, I mean, it's just duct tape. So really, the black duct tape is just so when you're in motion, I mean, you guys can go back and you can watch all the videos and you can really tell yourself, how often did you tell on film that it was even duct tape? I mean, in person, you don't even really tell that it is, because you're just kind of trucking along, you know? You don't pay that close attention. It doesn't really cut the eye or catch the eyes. So the interior is black itself. Actually caught on foam that was holding my camera the last time we were out and we did that first person view camera. So this is just all cut out. This is the aluminum roof. I can actually pop that off. That's actually might be bolt. That, I think that's actually glued down as well. Like I said, I do want to use the dash out of this again, so hopefully I don't break anything while disassembling this old girl. Destruction is the best part of the construction phase. You can see here too, while we're down here, these flat parts here once had magnets. And what we did is we bolted magnets to the frame, and then these flat parts had magnets glued to them. And that's how we magnetically held the body at one point. It worked pretty well, you know, until you rolled it real hard. When you rolled it real hard, if the body hit just right on the roof or something, it would just flop off from the frame because the frames are so heavy, especially if you're running wheel weights or something. There we go. And that's how you can get the whole front mitt off of one of these. And now we'll be left with the dash, and the dash will screw in here. So we pull that out, and now you can put your dash just in one of these Cherokees that actually fits right into the window there. And you can put some, what I've had in the color for Comanche for 2 years is just a real like triple fat bead of hot glue. And it's never come off. And if it does, you just do it again. But we'll get into that. That'll be another time. But you can see more. I mean, these broke. I think these are the B pillars. I'm not sure. These broke over time. But you can see more of what we cut out here now. Reverse on the other side. And when that's sitting on there, the reason why you don't see that too much, it's just dark in there, you know? Oh, I don't know where the... There it is. When it's on all the way, you know, imagine there's a black battery sitting there and there'd be the tape filling there. But up in here, where there's not any tape or anything, it's just such small sight lines. You're not, as long as the main stuff is there, you're not seeing it, you know, the beer can, and you got, or I mean the cold snack, sorry. I mean, don't want to call it what it's not. And then, you know, you got your fire extinguisher. And these seats are hollow, once again. That's just tape. So we'll look on the reverse, and that just allows for a little bit more wiring space and everything like that. There we go. I mean, there you go. And I understand there's a lot of people out there that don't want to cut up their brand new thing. I'm not telling you again, this is how you should do it. I'm saying this is how we did it. I think this was one of our first, I mean, this was our first build where I did this. I literally had no idea what I was doing. I mean, you can see by the cuts. What I used is a power drill with a cutting disc. Again, not how you should do it. Again, it's probably how I'm going to do it because this turned out so well at the end. I really do go by, we're just trying to get these to meet standards as far as a moving, you know. I want it to look as real as possible while moving, but there's a lot you can get away with RC. So, I don't know. Hopefully this just gives you the courage to maybe take some steps. You don't have to go as crazy as I did, but for the rear bumper, it's again one of the sliders, one of the rock sliders, just cut and bolted straight onto the body. I don't know, with the new build, I don't think we're gonna have bumpers at all, but I always really liked that on this. I thought that looked really clean on the rear end there. But yeah, that's bones. That's bare bones of bones. I hope that's really helpful and just tells everyone what they kind of need to know if they plan on doing the same thing. At least maybe you know, what to look out for and some of the trials you're going to have to overcome, if anything. Thanks for watching. This will be the short part of breaking down bones. If you're interested in more of the video, we're going to get into the building of the new yellow Rubicon. Good luck out there. Good luck in the shop. All right. Here comes the moment I have been waiting for a long time. And it's gonna look really bad. Let's see what we're working with here. Oh yeah. Look at that, babe. Oh, it's a beaut.
Wow.
I can see it in my mind's eye. That almost hooks underneath there, which is hilarious.
Wow.
Like, you could almost do it where the front wheels have a bumper and everything, and the back wheels are just hanging out. I mean, we still have to cut the frame and a lot of the body. No, but we will be more centered for sure. And I don't think I'll have to shorten the front end any. We got a lot to cut off the frame. The bumpers won't be here. They'll be gone no matter what. I'm probably cutting up in here somewhere. I hope I don't have to go that far back. I might have to be cutting the front of the frame as well. Either way, let's get the body off, or the bumpers off that body. Let's get the body broke down a bit to where I can start working out where we gotta get things, I suppose. I might have to lose these inner fenders for a while. They've been on there for forever. I don't think I've taken these things off since I put them on. They have just held up the time. It's just planters for planting little seedlings for in your garden. It's cut in half, cut into quarters. It's a bowl shape. Screw that in, and any screws you can find. Bam. Inner fender wells. Paint them black before you put them on. It's held up. Alright. The front bumper looks to have 3 screws up here. And it looks like we're actually going to have kind of an ugly overhang on the front bumper. Or, well, not even, it's not really part of the bumper, that's the thing. They just needed something to screw the bumper to, because they wanted the stock looking bumper to it. And that means they extended the grill past where the grill should go, because it's hidden behind the bumper. So I'm just left with this funny looking. It's kind of almost like the lower part of the grill is a core support. We're gonna cut that off. Usually something you don't cut off. Anything that has 2 words, core and support. Well, we're going to be losing a whole bunch of that. Alright. Hopefully that's it. I'm going to go ahead now and just attempt to pop the front bumper loose. Hey! Look at that. No instructions needed. We've done a few of these now. I understand you. We're just going to skip to a part now where I break something real quick. And that's what we're left with. That's what I was afraid of. That is so ugly. Huh. Now, see, on this Jeep, we get this. And I didn't cut anything on the front or anything like that. It's just how it comes. And so we're not going to be able to get it as thick as it needs to be, because we're going to have to cut above this big bulge. That's just kind of sad, you know? But the good part about that being, with off-roading Jeeps, you can pretty get away with cutting as much as you want. In real life, if you go out, you see a lot of home-done off-roading Jeeps. They might just have like half the top of the grill and 2 round lights and a thing that says Jeep on it. And that would be the entire thing. The rest of it is just a buggy. And they'll be like, yep, that's my Jeep over there. Or maybe it just has a mirror. You know what I mean? So we're probably gonna look, comparatively to some of the stuff you see in full-size vehicles, we're gonna look pretty good. We're gonna look pretty stockish in compared to that. So cutting a little bit off the front grille is not gonna be the end of the world. I'm still ready to move forward with this. Let's get the rear bumper off. And we're going to be taking off the rear tire obviously too, because when we have giant like 56-inch tires on this, it's going to look weird with these little like, I don't even know what this is supposed to be, probably off a stock Jeep. What would they do, like 38s or who knows? Talking out my rear. Little screwdriver is nice because I can get it into tight places, but it's got a horrible head on it. It's just really, really good for stripping out screws, but we're going to use it the whole time here. Also, these screws are really, really easily stripped. Just taking a gander to see if we should pop the tire off first. Doesn't look that way. I think to get the tire off, we may have to take the top of the Jeep off, which I need to take the top of the Jeep off anyway so we can cut up the floors. Which kind of sounds weird to take the top off to cut the floors out, but we need to keep our peepers on the top of the floorboards as well as the bottom of the floorboards to see what we're losing. Because the top what matters, right? I mean, if I'm just looking from the bottom of the floorboard, to me, everything looks like it can be cut out. Like, I don't need any of that. I just need my body to fit. But when you look at the top of the floorboard, you go like, all right, having the back of a seat and maybe a shifting knob would be nice. What I do like about RC, you can get away with, especially when you're making these trail builds, is you can get away with some showing wires, because when you come from a dirt floor garage building lifestyle like me, you know, exposed wires is just a normality of the job. So we got a light switch that turns the car on and off. No big deal. I'm attempting to take the top off right now, and I'm pretty sure it won't work because it looks like the top also screws in up here, which means I'm gonna have to screw that from inside the door. And I really need these screws because I need to put the top back on. I think that the Jeep is gonna look its best with the top on. One of the reasons why I wanted an old square body Jeep like this. And a two-door one specifically. I didn't think when we ordered this that we would get one that was pre-built. That wasn't in our plans. I'm going to switch up screwdrivers. That one's just giving me a hassle. Use this one here. See if we get any better luck. Got a little bit more reach. There we go. Wow. I'll tell you what, when you do happen to have the right tool for the right job though, you can't tell the world the difference. What I really like about these Jeeps is the plastic itself is the paint job. So I can scratch this on the outside as much as I want and it will still be a yellow Jeep. I just really like that. Yeah, you can still see the scratches and everything, but it's just nice for the long haul. That is always the color at least. Now there is some realism to scratching it and having it be like gray underneath. I like that. some of the RC four-wheel drives, you know, they come with a great. We actually have a Toyota body I've had for like a year. I'm just bang, 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 bang. I don't know why it's not coming out of there. Okay, maybe it'll just stay forever. Maybe if we're lucky. And put those over there. But there it comes. Wow. Of course. That's some good timing. But the Toyota body we got is a 91 Toyota SR5 extended cab. Or as close as I could get to one. I think it's actually like those 89s or something like that. But I will take it. That's the truck I had in real life, and I loved it. Try to take care of these doors. And the doors on the INJORA Rubicons and Wranglers, they don't shut the best. The Defender, the doors are magnificent. They're so, man, that thing has been through hell and back, and just works as good as it did day one. But already out the box, this one doesn't shut all the way, and you know, that's not a good sign. Okay, we should be popping off. There's some pop ends up here that might use a little bit of glue in, so I don't want to break those. We got little tabbies here, so just helps keep it tight. There's the top though. Very easy. Oh, that's pretty cool. Now that reminds me of a Barbie Jeep. Look at that, babe. We took the doors off of it. Yeah. That's what that reminds me of now. That's funny. We're going to take this back thing off though too, and this, we're trying to lose as much weight in the rear as we can because it's just really heavy in the rear end. Now it's a little bit more front bias now that we've taken the top off, but body wise I want it to be as front bias as I can. And then I'll decide. Also, I just think I don't know, it's just a black seat. It'll just look better if it's no seat in comparison. And at least for while we're cutting, we need as little as screws in there as possible. I don't want to be cutting, because we're going to be using discs that are only really made for cutting plastic. And not even aggressively. Like when you're cutting plastic with plastic cutting discs, at least the one I have, you have to be kind of gentle with them. You laughing at me back there?
I sneezed.
Oh, he's sneezing at me. Thought you were snickering. Listen to him making power drill sounds. Okay. Bammo. There's the seat. That's looking pretty good. Now that looks like a Jeep where you just pulled the top off and you're about to hit the beach with it.
Yeah.
See, take that back seat off. It's got that nice cut profile there. All right. Let's get this rear tire off. Oh, the rear tire actually just bolts in right there. I really do like the way that rear tire looks though. We might just leave that in the long run. I think that's just neat looking. You know, it gives it even more depth. Let me know in the comments, guys. Do I put the rear tire back on one day? Do I leave it off forever? Maybe I switch it up. Probably switch it up anyways, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Here's that. That's what we're dealing with behind there. Something ugly like that. Okay, so if it's off forever. Well, don't leave a comment, because it almost won't matter now. Man. Huh. And by the way, this is just plastic. This isn't a tire. You can, it doesn't come with a free spare tire. Yes, you can buy. Because we might have to cut that off and then do some magic body work or something there. Or I might just commit to leaving that because taking it off might be more of a pain than keeping it on. And it looks like I can almost get away with putting a real one on there if I want to, yeah. It looks like this sucker could hold it. A tire, and then I wonder if that screw's not gonna have a wide enough head to hold it on there, but I could put like a washer. Yeah. Get yourself like a washer with a screw with a big enough head on it. Something like this. That will actually fit in there. And we're cooking. We'll figure out something here. We'll see. We'll see what we end up with for now. Oh, I already scratched it. Oh no, it's just grease. Okay, good. Oh, that's right. You can't scratch a jet. It's yellow plastic, remember? We're going to go ahead and stick that screw back in, though. That way we don't lose that one. Mudslinger back down there. And we're probably going to be cutting this, too. Because that's just, again, this is just extra plastic they put onto the body to allow the bumpers, the stock bumpers, something to bolt onto. So, there we go. We got some of the cutting figured out already. Where we're going with what? Wow, we're really trucking along here, no pun intended. It's not funny. Quit laughing. Alright, how much lower are we? Not much. Rear end, it's all done up. We have to cut the frame off before we see a next big step. You can kind of see up front what I'm going for here, though. But I think what we'll have to do is, where these two screws go in, is this front bumper brace. I might have to just cut that frame off, even up front. I might have no frame right about where the steering bar is going across. That we might cut the frame right there. And I know what you're saying, like, oh, then you don't have a front cross member, and you're losing that strength. Also losing that weight. Which is higher than the axle, and that's weight we don't want. So, you know, when having a hard body, I don't much mind. Cut some stuff off of it. No, really, I don't mind cutting this frame. I think to get to the pricing idea of the frame, I remember when I looked it up a couple years ago when we first bought these two metal C-channel frames, this is what I'm talking about cutting, these right here. It's like $5 for a replacement. And then you're just looking at the knowledge of taking the belly off between here with all these screws and how to put that back in. Once you put the shocks on, and as long as you know how to phase your drive shafts, I mean, there's really not much to worry about with building these things. Once you get that general knowledge down there, you're clean to go. You just pop that center out. Motor can stay right, connect to the transmission and the transfer case and all that all in one. So you're good to go. But yeah. Whew, nervous. Now comes the part where we just look at it for a long time. We stare at it. This is how all the work gets done right here. This is it. This is the majority of the shop work. I think I've seen, if you guys don't know, actually Matt's Off-Road Trucking. You guys might, Off-Road Recovery, that's what it is. You guys might know of him. He does full-side recovery in like Utah and stuff. Actually all over now. But I think I've seen in one of his videos talk about that. He's like, this is what I usually do. I just stand and look at it. And that's a lot of it when you're building custom stuff, really. Even in RC, I suppose. You just look at it for a while. I can see up in here, just in that time of wasting, right here, this belly, obviously, especially from the last one where we cut out, we know that this center section is going to be a notorious problem, because that's where our battery is, right? Now, if we had like a, was it Element RC or something? A lot of them have the battery housing sideways. We could do something like that. Sometimes I mount it in sideways like this. Luckily, the frame rails and everything, there's nothing sharp right here, so you can just lay it in there and strap it down. It's good enough. But I think all in all, we're going to have to cut out this hump. It's just sticking down too far. I can see it in there. I can see it's already wanting to go where the battery's going to be. So that's not necessarily bad. And I'm almost confused on what these two screws are doing here. Like, what are they holding in? It almost looks like this chairs and stuff are laying on top of something, but they're not. I can see it's painted. This is part of the plastic. Can I see a brake line anywhere? Brake line meaning like a break in the plastic where two pieces are meeting. Maybe right here, actually. Maybe, I think the armrest and stuff might actually be screwed in somehow. So we'll try to unscrew that. Might have to take the dash out too then. that's fine. Like I said, that's just 2 screws up here. We'll take that. Take out the windshield assembly and everything. Take out the dash. Maybe we can work on the doors and get the door to fit a little bit better. Like I said, I didn't really think we were going to get this thing pre-assembled. So at least you're seeing how to assemble it and disassemble it as well. For right now, I'll be looking some more. Went and picked up a hand hacksaw from Hyper Tough. This was at Walmart. I think this was $5. It was literally the cheapest thing I could find. So these are, I call them pipe saws, because hacksaw is what I call like a motorized one. Grabbed a couple blades. They were like $2. The saw looked fine. The blades were super questionable. There's actually like, I don't know if they'll appear on camera, the amount of like wavy, they go like this. Now don't get me wrong, you do tighten it. Maybe you can see it on here. I have this thing pretty tight, so up here you can see the blade is actually really straight, but down here it's very nice straight blade, nice wavy blade. Hopefully that shows it off well. So I don't know, we'll try to use the straight part, you know, that's the part we need. The idea is, when I look at it, so we can't really move forward with the build until I cut something. And I think I'm going to have the front wheels overhang the front a bit. So we're probably going to end up cutting the frame up front too. Because we're going to cut the body right above this big bulge. So we have just the original Jeep grille. And we get rid of this monkey business they use to attach the bumper. And that'll get the Jeep lower as well, because you can see we have panel gaps, obviously. So we'll get that lower. We'll cut the frame up front. I think the first thing we're going to do, though, is start with a cut in the frame in the back. Because it would be nice if we can leave this original 2 screw holes right here. And pretty much just move what's happening right back here to this part right here. And then we can still put all the TRX-4 attachments as far as the bumpers, because we can slide this forward, the battery will still fit, we can put in this part in between the cross member in between, so then we can still attach bumpers if we want to, depending on different builds and stuff. Heck yeah. And pretty much all my builds, I use rear bumpers. I just attach them to the body, not the frame, because we don't really bump with the rear bumper. We're not really the kind of, you know, we'll use a winch to pull each other, try to do it role play style. So we don't really bump from front bumper to rear bumper. Now, front bumpers I do attach to the frame because we, you know, shoving them into rocks and stuff. All right. Well, back here, I'm thinking if I can just cut right on the other side of that. Now, I'm not going to cut this, but I do want a nice line to get me started. Yeah, that'll work. And then we're gonna have to take the wheels off. Very nice. Alright, try not to cut the blade on too many things you don't want to cut. That sucker off. We'll get rid of these so they don't get taken. I think those are my limiting straps, aka hair ties. Work really well as limiting straps. Oh, I can't wait to get back on the trail. And have something new too is going to be awesome. We've been wanting to do this since we first started, so, well, wanting to do everything, right? I want to build 1,000 rigs, so one thing at a time. We'll take one rig and build it 1,000 different ways, and then maybe one day we can get another rig. All right. Somehow, now, I kind of just imagined, oh, I guess that does fit like that. You know, sometimes it's good to be smart, and sometimes it's just good to be lucky. And let's see what happens here. Oh gosh, I know this isn't a piece of pipe, but you know, I'm hoping it's not like hardened steel. Oh, that does not sound good. I should also have this in a vise of some kind, which I don't own a vise, please. I'm doing this in the living room. If I can get that down. We just need to get a groove started. And then from that point on, I'll know how easy. You know what? Yeah. Right there. That's a groove. I think this is doable. I mean, why would they put forged steel in like a RC frame? You know what I mean? My idea was just like, it's got to be pretty soft. Ooh. Okay, we're moving everything. I'm just trying to... We'll find a spot. Don't you worry about it. Oh, that's not good. Don't do that. Freaking thing. Can you give me a hand, says the wife. I mean, I don't know what you could really... It's kind of chaos over here. The less hands, the better. See, this is, yeah, see, it gets to the wavy part or the blade there. That stinks. You know, I just got a good idea, though. Since this isn't really working and the waves don't, and the blades don't, maybe we use this and we return it back to Walmart. Is that a thing? You know, leave me a comment. Though, we're cutting through some plastic. That's what we're doing. But we're also, like, we're in it. Oh, yeah, it's going to be a nice spot to cut myself on. That's going to be good. Figure something out here. I mean, I like what's happening. I just... That tire's in the way now. The thing is, the saw likes to be cut like right in here in the middle area. That's right where that wavy bit starts, and it's just useless. I'm really trying to chisel with just there we go. Oh yeah. Just a little bit at a time. That was good. Oh, that was a good bit. Oh yeah. Okay. You know, strangely enough, it's my left arm holding the RC that's getting tired, not the arm. The arm trying to saw is like doing nothing. I feel like almost I'm moving this and the saw's just sitting still. Oh, that was good. Just talk my way to victory. Okay. Taking off a bit more plastic than I thought I would. That just means we're getting a tight fit. Okay. All right, we don't need to saw the edge of the table there. Look at that, the blade's almost all the way through though. Whew. I gotta do this 3 more times. All right. Whew. Something's happening. Nice, we're right at the end. I don't wanna snap it. I wanna limit my amount of sharp edges to, it's gonna be about 14 to 28 sharp edges in here, so we can keep it around that. Oh, that's not a good place for the thumb. Oh, those parts remind me of what a good one of these are like. When it's like going, you're like, oh, that's what it's supposed to be like. It's supposed to be like some sort of saw, not a fight. We're just gonna leave it like that now. No, I'm just kidding. Heck yeah. Yes! Watch, it needs to be a hair shorter. Should be it though. I mean, if I need to take off more, I'll take off more behind the screw. I can always make my own screw holes too. I just figured this way would be the easiest way to make it nice and neat. Almost like factory. That's actually smooth. There ain't no... Let me just try to cut myself. No, we're good. One more... Well, 3 more times, possibly. Maybe 5 more times. Oh, so what do you guys do on your, Monday nights? Who else is sawing frames in half right now? What kind of builds you got going on? We're gonna do poles only. This is a pole only saw. Nice. 6 hours later. And growing up, all hacksaws just, they all looked like this and they all just worked. Look, the paint on the blade is coming off. Why'd they paint the blade? Am I an idiot? Oh, what is happening up here? Oh, it's like it's getting pinched somehow. Yeah, I'm getting through it. I'm a little over half. I mean, it really doesn't seem like. It seems like all I'm doing is talking, but we are getting through it. Believe it or not, we're almost done with this one too. If I've learned anything from years of manual labor, it's that you bullshit half your way through it. Oh, summon all the pain from the bowels of deep inside me. Can you? All right, pull saw, pull saw, pull saw, pull saw, pull saw. Almost there. Woo! Oh, just don't break it off, Chad. It's so worth it. Oh my goodness. Yes. Oh, the hand yes. Okay, yeah, we're good. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. All right. Hey, look at that shorter frame. Holy smokes. Seems like just a moment ago. Or let me check the GoPro here. Seems like just 21 minutes and 39 seconds ago. Holy crap, that took a long time. All right. And then just... Nice. Maybe I should have done a YouTube thing like... Yeah. Oh my... Okay. Enough clowning around. Let's throw this bad boy on here. Look how much better it looks without the frame hanging off the rear end. Whoa, starting to look like a Jeep now.
Looks nice.
Right? It's starting to look like something. Oh man, I gotta do that up front. All right. Whew, my shoulders got a burn from that even. That was a good little workout. Let's start taking off these wheel wells, these fender wells. And I made these like 2 years ago. The fact that they're still hanging in there is just insane. And we'll take them off, but we're going to put them right back on. Ain't no way we're making something new and improved. These have tried and true, these have been. And they've been made for a Jeep, so I know they're the perfect angle, and they hide all the camera and everything when we're driving. They look real, so real enough for me at least. So we're just having fun, right? It's just supposed to make the rope play good, so. All right. Okay, we've talked about this in the past, but this is a Dremel cutting disc. This one's for plastic. I've used the ones for metal too, I think at least. But I bought a pack, and it came with a little tool that allowed me to hook a Dremel bit up to my drill here. So you just put that out like that, throw that in. Oh, twist so it's locked. And now you're engaged. So we'll plug our drill in, and then we're just gonna make a couple easy cuts for our antenna, our transmitter. Here we go. Get up to speed. That's better. Okay, and then the wife is gonna hold this down. Not where that is though. Hold it like back here. I'm gonna cut right here. Okay, and we will, no worries, we will go nice and thing but a chicken wing. Make another one real quick. Shazam. And then the height of it, we're gonna go just down up there. Let me make a guideline mark real quick. That's good enough. This gives me something visual to look at while we're making this cut. Some sort of level. All right. The thing about the plastic, you know, it reliably melts a little bit on you, so it'll cut through real quick once it gets going. We're just gonna make one more cut on the back side here. Same thing we did on that side. All right, and we'll do the final bits ourselves here and here. Just some corners to get our lines to meet up. You gotta keep holding that, babe. Thank you. The problem is you start knocking into the body because this thing ain't long and lean like a actual Dremel is. Oh, I cut a little bit into that post there. Whoops. Well, that doesn't really matter. So you start to compromise a bit, but now you can see. There we go. Shazam. It doesn't look near as bad as you thought it was gonna look, does it? And we just sand that down. It should be deep enough. If it's not, we want to sand actually to the depth. So either way, that's nice. There we go. That's our passenger side antenna box. Transmitter box hole. We'll start there. Okay. So here's our frame. This is our transmitter. Here's our hole. I haven't really touched it up or anything yet. And you can see through the inside here. There we go. Starting to line up. I'm gonna have to go a little further over to the right of it. You can see on here on the 4-door how much in the end we ended up having to cut out. Nearly the whole floor and the seat underneath and the front of the seat and everything. So that's most likely what will end up coming out, but we're just doing a little bit at a time just to, you know, save as much as we can for no particular reason other than for the name of core strength, because that's about how much. But you gotta look, there's nothing left, and that's still, I mean, bodies are there just to protect the innards, right? So with the top on this, it'll still do all the protecting. We don't need any of the floorboard really in actual reality. We could cut it all out if we wanted to, but I don't know, just taking it slow. That should be that. Alright, we got some 80 grit sandpaper here. You could use something a little heavier if you wanted, but we're just going to use that. And we're just going to follow our lines now that we made. We're going to widen this out very slowly. I will use something heavier. I'm not sure what it will probably be, but I got something else around here, so I'm gonna get that going. I don't know, from this point on we'll share some cuts here and there, but honestly this stuff is pretty hard to film, and I'm remembering more and more why I didn't share it on the first build. It's just like a whole lot of like looking, barely measuring and whatnot, and it's just like a constant amount of just staring at it and looking at it before you make a cut, because I don't want to do anything too hastily. I mean, it is about just trying to get it done, but a little bit of point, you know, you can't go back. So we'll show how much we cut out of here and whatnot. We'll go over it for sure, piece by piece, but I'm gonna get going on this so we can get this sucker done. I actually ended up finding some 40 grit sandpaper, so this stuff is pretty rough. You'll get through it pretty fast. It's a whole lot of this. Look at that, whole edge is already gone though. There was a big cut gash in there and you could see it was off level. That's already leveled out. Alright, should probably wear a face mask. We do have an air compressor. We'll blow this all out before we're done, so. Alright, it's only been a couple minutes, but I can already see here, starting to snug on there, right over the box. The only problem is now, you can see, you want to check this. Our body's too far over to the right. We got a floorboard, or not really a floorboard, but a frame, skid plate sticking out the bottom here on the side. So we need to go over just like a tiny few bit here. It'll probably be a little bit easier just to make a new cut than to sand to that, because it's just enough to be annoying. So we'll see what we do with that real quick. Okay, so this is a fat Sharpie. There's just a normal little fat Sharpie. So this is how I like to make my sandpaper holder. Slide that piece in there, bam, then you don't have to wear out your finger. One of the best ones I found for RC, so it was a little freebie. Are you guys ready for this? Look at this. Just with this one cut done, we got a little bit of wiggle room, a few centimeters right there. We're clean on both sides. Look how low that is already. Can you see what I'm talking about? We're almost covering the skid plates now. And I know they're longer than they need to be. We might have to cut some of the skid plate off, which, we're cutting the frame. Does it really matter at that point? This is gonna be all custom, everything. So, that's really nice though. Now the battery does have to go somewhere, so that's why this stuff in here has to get cut out. Either that, or we have to put the battery inside the truck. We could put like holes for the plug to come through, like a little slit maybe. We could do the battery up here, but I literally just said we could put the battery up somewhere, which is just a bad idea unless it's up front at the truck, so you have forward weight. That's the only up for battery is really looking for. But at the same time, this is what I'm thinking. If we're gonna put the original shock mounts in, so we're gonna cut through the floorboard a little bit. We might use this. We're gonna have, instead of the seats in the back, we're probably gonna have this toolbox, and we'll cut through the bottom of the toolbox, and that'll hide the shock mounts. Also, this might be how we attach the body to the frame. And then maybe the wire comes up here and we set the battery right here. Bam. The only problem is that would mean unscrewing this top to get the battery in and out. Unless we can get it like an angle where we could just pop open the doors and get our hands in there. Let's just keep whittling away and see how low we can get the battery without cutting the center up. Or low we can get the body without cutting the center up. And then we'll go from there. I do need to get the shock mounts in though. I think I'm definitely want to commit. We've been having the leaned shocks in the rear for so long. And what that does do is it does help for climbing up a hill, because it raises your rear end a little bit. So it makes you kind of more like this while going up a big steep hill. But what it also does is when you're going up over like a breaking point, on a rock like this, your rear end is hanging down further than it needs to be hanging, and it's just like a big anchor keeping you from getting up on top of stuff. So I just want to relieve that. I don't know. There's a word in there somewhere. I just want to relieve that problem, and we're gonna put the original shock mounts in and then cut through the back end, and yeah, I'll be fine with that. I now realize and remember why we cut up the middle section of the 4-door so much. So all this had to be cut out, and the seats and stuff, because it's literally resting on the frame right now. So this flat part of the battery tray is just resting on it. Like all of this is in the way. It just needs to come up to like even with what we've cut so far. So not a lot, but some needs to be taken away. Basically to the bottom of that e-brake lever is the height that we need. So I think what we're gonna do is do the rear shock mount towers first and get the holes cut for them. And then we do the center, because the center is going to be the last thing we do. And I think that's where we want it, as far as frontwards. Like, I want the front end pushed back pretty far. And we made this cut here. This is for the gas pedals. This is just for a little bit of these wires don't get pushed down so hard into the ESC, and it's just a little bit more comfortable for it living over there. I might have to cut a little bit more out of the chair here. And if we do, it's no big deal. It's just this little dip inward can hurt it. And so I might cut that dip out a little bit. We'll see, as it's sitting pretty far back. Man, that is snug too. Yeah, if we can get a little bit lower. I don't know if we're going to be cutting this off the front and back. These aren't on the real Jeep, obviously. You don't have these mounting things. These are for the bumper again. But we're definitely not going to be running the bumper. But maybe we do and we just cut the sides of the bumper off or something. Might do something like that. Who knows? Doesn't look terrible with it on. I can't believe this, but it's really coming together. We made a couple more cuts. We got our rear shock mounts. They just barely poke through. But like I said, when we put this on top, they're dang near invisible. That goes right there. Look at that. That's gonna be nice, especially when this is sitting up there. You know, you're never gonna see them. So that's super cool. And then it's not perfectly down all the way. So like I said, what we've coming into now is simply there's just nowhere for any of this to live. We got the belly of the floor hitting almost on the frame now. And then the whole belly here is riding on this right here. We could take our battery tray mount out, but we actually use it for screw points. Yeah, we just need it. Also, I think I want to keep the battery in the tray, so I'd rather lose more stuff inside body-wise than to remount the battery up higher. So this is probably the hardest cuts to make, but we will make them. I think what we're going to do is just cut from here and over here, just everything on the side there. Look at this red one more time. We can see more what we had to do with it. Now, it's not going to go as low because we never did cut holes for the rear shock mounts on this. But yeah, I think we'll have to go out. We could go just as wide as the frame rails if we wanted to. That way there's no way to hit them at all. And up front, you can see what I'm talking about here. So we actually went up a little higher than we needed to. It might be safe to not go that high. We'll see. Alright, so good news, bad news. Bad news, it was as I feared. For some reason on the two-door body, the body is separate from the center console. So when I cut this out, the center console just fell out. But it's actually kind of a good thing, because as we move forward now, we can really make our decisions much more easily, seeing that open up, and then we can just place that in there when we're done. And we can just a little bit of tape for the day or whatever we're doing wheeling, or we can decide to final mount it if we want. But right now we got a little bit of sanding left to do, and then we're pretty much sitting on the frame rail right here. So I might have to cut a little bit out of the floorboard, just a tad bit, to widen it right behind the seats, so where the frame is and the antenna holder and whatnot can kind of sit through that. And then it's about trying to get the battery in, and that's where we'll get a little bit more interesting here. We might cut some of the floorboard into the back seat area there, so the battery has a place to live. Because usually when you put the battery in, we'll play like this is the battery that sticks up, because this is an LCG mount, low center of gravity, so it sits at an angle, but then the rear end of the battery sits at the highest point. So it might go through the back seat there a little bit. And that'll be fine. You won't ever see it anyways, so when the top's on and everything, it won't be visible. And then we're on to bumpers. I mean, look how nice that is there. Skid plates, and then how is it going to be mounted? Bumpers, skid plates, yeah, and how is it going to be mounted? And then whether or not we need to trim the back, well, not whether or not, but we need to trim the back end here. I'm thinking we might just come straight off this line and then do like a V notch kind of deal. We'll see what we end up with, but like the plan has always been that the tires are going to stick out outside the body. So, oh, and fix the door. I have figured out that the door right here has a little space between the interior and exterior panels, and what that does is when you button it shut, that's why you get that little gap. But if I super glue that together, it'll tighten that up so we don't have that gap, and it'll make it look just, oh, so much better, because that was driving me crazy. We have the battery in. Look at that. We trimmed this puppy up, so we will get a glue laid down, probably just hot glue, so it can be easily torn out if need to and replaced. Oh, I kind of messed up one of the shifting knobs. It looks like you're going to re-glue that too, it looks like. Yeah, it looks like they just pop them in. All right, we'll pull those out and glue them in sometime. So we'll get that in, and then that looks freaking amazing. Right here, what we got going on. So this is the bottom half of the box. So I cut out the corners of this box. And when we screw the box back into this two corners, it'll still be enough to hold it. And that's what it will look like, covering up the tops of our shock mounts on the inside. So you won't really be able to see them at all. And then on the underneath side, that box is held in by these two screws. And then we're also going to screw right here. And we're going to go ahead, and I think that will allow us, if we're lucky, to use a bracer. We might have to go just back here to be safe, though. I think we'll put the bracer on and see where we land before we screw any holes. But this is what I mean by bracer. We're going to use this as our body mount. This is how we used it in the old one. We'd flip this up. This isn't how we attach it. We'd just screw it in on the side when we're ready to go out wheeling. We can actually use it as a hinge to switch the batteries out and stuff. So that's what we're going to be using. I really like this system. I fell in love with it because it's a hard thing. It doesn't come off no matter how hard you roll it. As long as those bolts are tight and screws are tight, you're good to go. So we're going to do something with that for the rear. And then on the front, I haven't really got to that, but that's where we're at, is running boards, bumpers, and how we're attaching the body to the frame. Whew, getting a lot done today. I'm leaving the battery in because it'll have to be in. Taking my bracket here for my body mount, I'm going to just slide it over my frame. So we got two holes there that we could use for it. And we're just going to see, where does that come up in here. And it actually would work. I can just put two screws right there behind that case. And I think that's probably what we're going to do, just to keep it as far back from all the wires and everything. That works super well. Oh my goodness. It's like it was made for it or something. That's what we call luck. Yeah, that's good stuff. All right. Real cool. So what we'll do now is we'll take this. We're going to go ahead and put the bracket now on this end. And we're going to just, I don't want to hope. I want to make sure that's really on straight though. I'd rather have it attached to the frame. And then we'll flip this upside down and we'll drill this way. Yeah. And we'll make sure that we're all lined up perfectly. Okay, we have the rear end. It's bolted here. Cross member there, bolted to the frame there, perfect. This thing is on so tight, it won't even, I can almost pick it. Hopefully I didn't just break the screws. I did loosen the sides. Oh gosh. I can almost pick it up, as I was saying, the entire body before I ruined it. But let's get it tight on. Let's get it back where it's supposed to be. Geez, what did I do now? Okay, I was just pivoting. I loosened the screws on the side so I could kind of monkey with it a bit more safely, but it's never... You don't want anything to break, right? Alright, bolting straight through the plastic. I wanted to have something like this so I could sandwich the two plastics together because this is way more stiff. That's why I wanted to go through here, but I mean, you can always want one thing and do another. So, but this should be a really good holding spot. Well, it's still bolted to the frame. We're going to take that time and I think make our cuts, or our measurements at least, real quick on where we want our cuts to be. You probably want to follow that line, right? Not the top, because if we follow the top, then it's like, what is this covering? If we put a tire on real quick, we can see about where we're working with. See, we want that rub line to be the same all the way across, I believe. That being said, it is all the way up there. We can always take more off, I suppose. We can't add it back on, so yeah, I think that will be good. And we'll cut it all the way up to about there, so we can keep the second bumper attachment, possibly. We might be able to throw partial with the trim the stock bumper, but we might be able to. We have to take the lights out though. That's kind of the whole part of the bumpers. But we could run it, very possibly. I say we cut out here. So we'll go like that. Alright. So it may have taken off a little bit more than we needed to on the rear end. I was trying not to, obviously, but at the same time, I mean, I wanted to have it like where I can back up and hit a rock, you know? Not have a bunch of silliness in my way. I think we accomplished that. It is square, a little bit off on this side, but not much of anything to kind of worry about. And throw the spare wheel still on there. I think we'll have to use that, either that or we'll have to cut this nub off or something. So I think we're almost going to be forced to have to leave the spare wheel on there, even if only for fun. Which is fine, because we actually have a light bar. Not a real one, but a little fun thing that goes under there too. And we have the top on it, that'll look really good. So we'll use that, and then I cut the bumper. We can put the bumper on if we're gonna use the tire, I guess. It does have a certain aesthetic to it then, you know? It does make it look a bit more real. It is supposed to be a trail rig, so oh, that looks pretty beefed. Yeah, leave that little thing on there for fun. I think that's all we're going to do, at least for time being. Otherwise, in the future, what we might try as well, and I wish I could just add a bit more. I don't know why I did such a it's hard to cut consistent angles sideways. I should have left myself something to play with maybe there. But at the same time, it's kind of better I didn't. It is a mean cut. It's too late now. If we would have paid attention more, yeah, the thing is, it would have been left with these round bits. That's right. That's why I had to go If anything, I could have went like that more, but it wouldn't have been much different. I don't think I would have squeezed that in. I would have had to cut half of that off. I kind of just wanted to lob it off just to have it even at least. Yeah. I think we'll put some wheel wells in here and that might do something as well. Picture something like, you know, this isn't exactly what it's gonna look like, but something tapered in a little bit. Like that, maybe. Might be something that we're looking at. Who knows? No going back. Can always make another one. Alright, yeah, let's fasten all this bits on there. I like that. And then that'll be our rear end. We'll get the box put on in the inside. Okay. Which is, I'm putting some magnet mounts up front. We're gonna see how low the body sits, so we'll pull that up like that. And then sneak the body roughly on where it goes. Yep. Okay. And then you need to be up a little higher, otherwise the magnets aren't gonna touch. Perfect, all right. We'll go up a little bit from where they are right now. And it should grab. And then what we do is we'll put 2 magnets on top of here, like this for all intents and purposes. We'll put some hot glue, stick the body back on, let it sit for 5 minutes, and then the glue on top of here will seal to the inside of the top of the RC, and then there you go, magnet mount. It's not the best mount, but moving forward with this project, I really would like to get this done. And I'm just gonna need some time to think about how we would mount it otherwise. So I'm gonna guess that that right there is gonna be about the height we need. I'm not gonna put those screws in all the way. Let's find a body. There we go. There we go. Oh yeah, it's about touching. Okay, so I might have to go a little lower. That'll be fine. Pull that off and we'll try to go a little lower if we can. It might be just at some weird height that's not a hole. Traxxas aren't really known for making their stuff in the idea that it's gonna be modified. They actually kinda, I think, don't really like it. They probably wouldn't like anything I do with my YouTube. The whole thing is TRX-4 sports and how to chop them up, pretty much. Okay. Here we go. Sweet. That's looking pretty good. And that's gonna touch up there when the body's fully down. Good deal. Just put some wheel wells in. Blow some dust out of here so we can start using some hot glue on. Gotta get this in. Center console. That'll be nice. And then put the top back on. I mean, we're done pretty much, I think. I mean, fingers crossed, as long as those magnets touch up front. Now I'm thinking, do we actually want to cut some of this out, or do we just kind of wheel well up to that? I might cut some of this out real quick just to give it a little bit better of a look. Yeah. Otherwise it is going to look a little funny for a long time. From the frame on the Traxxas, I like to use like a pair of snippers instead of like a cutting wheel or something. It's just a bit safer, a bit more controlled, and actually, honestly, a bit faster. Oh. Bam. Done. My fingers! There we go. Nice. And when that's on, nice. Look how much cleaner that looks. It's okay to have a little bit going out. It's a skid plate, you know? Helps protect against rocks and stuff too. Might stop us from getting hung up on things, who knows. Yeah, sweet. I think this is the first time you guys are seeing it with the wheels on. So to keep it looking relatively right, because like I said, the wheelbase is always was going to be bigger than the Jeep. That was kind of the point of it. Is I try to keep the same measurements. You know what I mean? You want to keep about 2 fingers the same distance away. So, you know, if you get an inch or an inch and things, whatever your measurement is, but you want to keep that to the same distance out. So on the Jeep, you know, they already have the front end is cut to a shape like that, and that's why we did it so drastically with the front end, or the rear end too. I don't know if we're gonna end up keeping the bumpers forever. We're gonna try it at first, and then we may end up trimming, we may end up taking the front bumper off, and then taking the rear bumper off, taking the rear tire off, and trimming the rear, and then raising the bumper up. So then it's even a better crawler. You'll see it with the top on. It looks pretty dang cool with the top on. But right now, we're going to try to get the magnet mounts going. And the magnet mounts were basically just to stop the body from flipping off backwards when you're going uphill and stuff on the front. And whenever the tires rub a bit, because they do rub a bit on the 108 millimeters, so they're definitely going to rub on like the 120s or something. That's why we might end up losing the front bumper. That, and it just looks better without the front bumper in a way. It also doesn't, because it doesn't have an original grill spot unless you have the bumper on. So that means we'll have to do some cutting or just kind of like deal with it. It is supposed to be a newer Jeep Wrangler, so I guess they don't always have the same exact grills even nowadays on what they did in like the 60s and 70s, you know, or even the 90s. But let's go ahead and pop this up, and then we got the back is on. Okay, so these are going to be stuck to the roof or the hood of this. Let's fill it up. Just be a really healthy amount with it. You want it to be too much. And then in about 15-20 minutes, pull them off and then fill the gaps in. We'll flip the body upside down. We'll fill the gaps in to make sure they really stay stuck to the hood, and the other ones stay stuck to the poles. And we're good. Pretty dang easy. Alright, we got the hood drying. I just super glued these shift knobs back in. We're going to lay down a fat bead of hot glue here. Bam. And we're going to tuck that in right up against like that. Oh, nope, nope. There. Just like that. Trying to push it up towards the bottom of it as best as possible. Alright, let's pop this up and hopefully that hot glue held. It's probably been like, what, maybe 6 minutes? Maybe just 5. There we go, and it's there. We are good. These are the ones stuck to the beam. Let's detach it from the rear. Nice and easy. There we go. And now, I'll shut the doors. I did fix the door. You can see what I'm talking about up here. So what we'll do is we'll come around. Now one of the reasons why magnets is not the way you want to end up doing it is because they can pop off while rolling, so ultimately that doesn't protect your electronics, which is what the goal of the body is to do, other than look good, is to protect your electronics. And they add weight up high, so usually in crawling, which what we're doing, we want our low center of gravity, but if you have magnets at your body height, then that's weight that's not at your axle height. So that's why I would stick away from this. Sometimes when you're in a bind though, or if you're just a person that likes to pull your body off a lot and you're not really out making a comp crawler, you're just making something to have fun with and tow each other around and stuff, and you don't mind the extra challenge or the disappointment on not being able to complete a goal, because sometimes that's fine too. Like, it's not every crawler you make has to be able to do every single thing. Otherwise you would just, if you had one crawler that could do everything, then you might not have any more crawlers, you know? Also, if you have one crawler that does everything, touche. That's awesome. Alright. So that's that. That's basically held on. You can trim these up if you want. Sometimes I'm just gonna make sure it's not on the magnet, because you want a nice, perfectly flat surface from magnet to magnet to get a good bond between them magnetically. And then the rubber, like, that hangs down a little bit, or the, well, glue, is gonna be fine, because it'll just act as a guider to make sure that they always hit in the same spots. It'll also dampen some bouncing around. Here we go. It's gonna be good stuff. screws out a little bit. Oh, that's great. That works for me. Very much little light going through there now. That looks way better. That's what I was hoping for. It's like, will it make a big difference? It definitely does. Could seal up in here a little bit, but I like seeing the frame and stuff. I think that looks cool. So this is a trail / street rig, right? So, all right. I think, is it done? I think we're gonna buy a roof rack for it. Paint it white like we did the blue one. And that'll look nice up there. We need to get some wheels for it. These aren't the indefinite wheels. These wheels are dang near 3 years old now. They are just worn out. Last time we went out with them, Haley had a flat in one tire the entire day. We did talk about actually buying some good tires. We have just like every single INJORA tire they sell, we have. And I just hate to say it, but their tires just aren't really worth anything. Doesn't matter what foams you get from them or tire combination or how you trim it. Their tires are just, they're not as sticky and they don't like squish this. They're stiff. They're not pliable. They never really break in. They're just really stiff. I don't know if it's the amount of plastic mixed with the rubber or something like that, but it doesn't have a lot of pliability to it. So I hate to say that. We've had good luck on INJORA tires. We've won some things with them and whatnot. Not that it's about winning, but they provide good looks and whatnot. But as far as out there usability, I mean, their best things usability wise, their bodies, their rims, those are their top two. Everything sells for them. Buy them, use them, chop them up. Their bodies are one of the best things in the market, and their rims are number one. You can't get a better deal when it comes to rims. They're heavy. They look good. What more do you want? They're cheap. You know, it's like $30 for a whole set, whereas everyone else is like $180 for two. So, all right, that's awesome. I think, man, if I can't really think of anything right off the top of my head. I might do some little things here and there, but yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed the build. I hope it helps kind of get you wheels spinning, no pun intended, on your own stuff. And you can see what mistakes I made with mine. If you're looking and doing the same build, check out the INJORA link below. Get yourself a little discount. There'll be a code there, either in the description or in the description of the video or in the comments. I'll do one and both, I guess, if I can remember to. If I don't, yell at me in the comment. And yeah, much love to you guys. We'll see you on the trails. Happy trucking. Okay, to catch you guys up, the night before when I went to bed, I thought I was done with this build, but I just tossed and turned all night thinking about some things we wanted to change on it. I wasn't happy with that tail end. I wanted to get some metal plating, so we made some realistic 2-panel metal plates. There's a panel on the inside, panel on the outside. I just used hot glue to join them, sand down the edges and everything. I made panels to fill in the gaps in the bumpers we trimmed. I went ahead and made some scale things. So one of the things I like to do for license plates is stick the sticker of the license plate on top of like an old Tupperware lid or something like that, and then cut the Tupperware lid and then use that to attach to the vehicle. That way you have some depth to the license plate just like you would in real life. Little things like that. Again, I hope you guys all enjoyed. I hope this really helped. Thank you for all that you do, and we'll see you out there. Have good days, have good nights, and happy trucking.